Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been playing a video game and started to feel embarrassed? Or maybe guilty, maybe ashamed? I have, and I suspect many watching are probably answering yes as well. Last year, I published a video talking about this feeling and my own journey to try and accept my love of video games. It seemed to resonate with a lot of people, but still, I've continued to see so many comments from people in the months since I posted it that have spoken to their struggles with accepting their love of this hobby. Why do so many of us feel this way? And more importantly, how do you get these feelings to stop? I've loved gaming since I was a kid, and at that time, I never thought anything of it. Kids tend not to think in those terms, focused instead on the present moment and enjoying whatever it is that they're doing. Once I grew into my teens, though, that simplicity faded away. You start to develop an awareness of how you're being perceived at that age. It doesn't help that you're surrounded by other young people who don't have much of a filter, to say the least. I became fearful of having new friends over to my house solely because I didn't want them to see how big my video game collection was. I became increasingly asocial, opting to just stay home and play video games by myself. As a kid, I'd play them with my friends, but as I got older, partying became the pervasive means of socializing. It's so strange to think back to that time because I just completely took for granted how embarrassed I was by my video games. I never stopped to actually think about why I felt the way that I felt. Why do we feel this way? Well, that's a tough question to answer. I think it's largely attributable to how video games are perceived, which obviously directly influences the perceptions of the people who play them. Back in the early days, games were a niche, new form of entertainment composed of bleeps, bloops, and incredibly rudimentary facsimiles. It was hard for a lot of people to understand, especially when compared to film or music. These were universal forms of entertainment that required almost no barrier to entry. Video games, though, required direct participation. The buttons you were pushing changed what was happening on the screen. Imagine the novelty of that. It was, amongst other things, unapologetically new, and new is often misunderstood. New things are also most adopted by younger people, which meant that video games were being gobbled up by kids. This led the medium to look like a glorified toy, something that most adults just wouldn't understand. Beyond that, as you and I both know, video games are profoundly fun, which meant that these kids would much rather be playing them than, say, doing their homework. Video games began to look like nothing more than a distraction, nothing more than a waste of time. I'm sure we've all been told at some point that games are going to rot our brains. In fact, you've probably heard that a lot. These types of comments may seem innocuous, but they have a compounding effect. If we hear that something is bad often enough, we start to believe it whether we want to or not. I've always been a vocal defender of this medium, but it doesn't matter how much I talk, those feelings of guilt and shame still creep in. As the decades have rolled on, the stereotypical gamer, quote-unquote, has become a pariah, someone with glasses, acne, and a distinct lack of social acumen. None of those traits are even objectively bad, but society says that they are, and so we listen. I mean, seriously, how many times have you seen that type of character in a movie or sitcom or music video? Sometimes things work out for that character, but more often than not, they're just the butt of the jokes. Even when things do go their way, it's usually because they managed to grow out of their nerdy persona into someone more conventionally attractive and charismatic. What are these types of characters almost always shown doing or discussing? Playing video games. Of course, the societal framing of the medium goes beyond just scripted material. As gaming has grown up, so too have the gamers themselves, which has led to innumerable video games that incorporate more violent subject matter to appeal to an older demographic. Some of these games are terrible, some are incredible, but the sad truth of such mature imagery present in the medium is that video games have become the go-to scapegoat to explain violent acts and outbursts. These types of assertions do not make sense, but that doesn't really matter. If you hear it enough, it will affect you. We may all understand that video games and other entertainment aren't responsible for the behavior of other people, and yet those feelings of guilt and shame still creep in. All of this societal weight is a lot to carry, especially at a younger age. And it impacts how we interact with each other on a micro level. Have you ever been made fun of for playing video games? I have, and I bet many of you watching have experience with that too. Have you ever been made fun of for watching movies, or playing sports, or learning the guitar? The odds are a lot less likely. These activities are far too ubiquitous to be used as ammunition for bullying, or they're just viewed as cool. Playing video games didn't get so lucky, although as more and more young people are exposed to the hobby, I hope that this perception evolves. A lot of my more recent videos on this channel have featured my partner Ellie playing video games, and this has illuminated so many different angles of this topic. The initial videos that featured her gameplay didn't feature her on camera or a microphone, so there was technically no proof that she actually existed. I received many comments on those videos that I didn't actually have a girlfriend and that I was just making her up. As we've begun filming ourselves for these videos, I've received countless comments condescending Ellie's gameplay, or the fact that she's even featured at all. What's particularly sad about these comments is that they likely weren't authored by people unfamiliar with video games looking down on someone who plays. They were written by fellow gamers, by people who understand the ridicule that can come with investing yourself in this hobby. It's hard to make any headway towards a brighter communal future when people within it espouse the same tired rhetoric as the people who don't understand. There's a repeated sentiment on these videos, though, that has struck me the most. I have seen so many people tell me how lucky I am to have a partner that's willing to play video games. Just as many comments have articulated how lucky I am to have a girlfriend at all. I've seen so many people express how much they wish they had a partner of their own to play games with, and how hopeless the prospect of ever finding one seems. These statements resonate with me so much because I was in their shoes. When I was younger, I wanted a partner so badly, but it felt impossible. I didn't want guy friends coming over to my house, let alone someone I had a crush on. Look, I was a really anxious teenager. The concept of dating would have terrified me no matter what, but my love of video games felt like an albatross that made the journey that much harder. And yet, I did find a partner, one that not only accepts my love of video games but has embraced the hobby herself. The shared consumption of games has enhanced our relationship, not sabotaged it. I want to speak very clearly to anyone who feels this kind of hopelessness that I'm describing. Your love of video games will never inhibit you from finding a partner. If someone passes you by because you enjoy video games, I can say with absolute certainty that they were not the right person. If anything, your hobby will help you because passion is attractive. Celebrate and embrace what you're passionate about. I love hearing people talk about the things they love to do, even if I'm completely ignorant to it. Nothing is for everyone, but externalizing your excitement about something will always be cool. If you lean into what brings you to life, you will connect with other people and eventually find a partner who will lean into it with you. Your eligibility is not defined by what you love to do. The more that we reject these stereotypes and rhetoric, the more we exhume ourselves from the societal baggage resting upon us and begin pushing the pendulum in the other direction. I've made a lot of progress in my acceptance of my gaming identity in recent years, and yet, as I've spent 2025 trying to turn my gaming YouTube channel into a full-time career, I've found myself infected with the same self-conscious mindset that a past version of me knew all too well. When someone's asked me what I do for a living, the notion of leading with, "I run a YouTube channel," is one that sends a chill down my spine. I'm so quick to contextualize, explaining quickly that I was laid off from my real job and just trying this crazy YouTube dream for a year. Why can't I just own it? Trying to write about video games for a living has presented me with the same insecurity that playing them caused me 15 years ago. I guess all I can really do is tell myself the same thing that I tell anyone else. The same thing that I wish I could tell my younger self. It is okay to be passionate. It's okay to embrace what you love. And seriously, it's okay to play video games.